Hello, Facebook, and hello, Melanie. I don't know if you're still live, but I am now. And it is a few minutes before 12 o'clock, midnight, on June 7th. This is day 13 out of 90 of my Facebook Live challenges. And I have a little bit of everything to talk about tonight because it's so late, and that's why I am pushing the limits. I was up at 4:30 this morning, worked 12 hours, came home, and I have literally been just watching the basketball game and thinking what I should talk about. Coming to you for Champions Over Cancer. You know, a little tired, but that's what it's all about for me, is waiting till the limits and then making decisions. That's kind of how I operate, and it's not the best way to operate. It's just what works for me, but I know that it's better if you're prepared more. And the way it has to do with being out of bounds is when it comes to cancer. Because when you are diagnosed with cancer, there are a million decisions to make, and you're just overwhelmed with emotion, and your world stops. If my world stopped right now, it would be, my watch is a little fast because I'm usually a little late. 10 of midnight, 10 of 12? And that would be it. I wouldn't be able to finish the rest of this live, but here I am. And it's now, my statement is already in the past because I've made a next statement. And you think you're planning for the future, but does the future come? And then you get told you have cancer. And boom, now what do? You do your research, you listen to advice, but you can only make decision A before decision B, and decision B before you make decision C. That's just how you have to do it. And sometimes you want to go and hide because it's so much, and your emotions are just, emotions can be very helpful, but they also, they can hinder your ability to make informed decisions. And so that's why I always tell people that, patients that I'm caring for, or, someone that asks me for advice, it's good to have a second pair of ears in the room when you're talking about something that's very, very highly emotional and critical, because there are things that you miss. There are things that Jay and I, my husband, talk about, and that occurred in the initial days and weeks of my diagnosis. And I'll say, they never told me that. And he said, yes, they did. I was sitting in the room, and you just, boom, you missed it. Because something, you were stuck, you blinked and came back, and it's such an emotional time that there are people that will say things to you that are way out of bounds, and there are people that won't say anything to you that you think are good friends, that drift away. You really find out who your true loved ones and your true friends are when you go through a cancer diagnosis and the treatment, because people are either afraid or, you know, they think it's going to rub off on them, which it won't, trust me. And then there are people that it's just too much, you know, it's like time out. It's too much information. And, you know, you have to respect people's, their decisions, because you can't make them, help them with them. That's their perceptions, those are their decisions. All you can control is how you react to people. And so much of that, of making decisions in that vortex of that of your cancer diagnosis, that you have to, it's your decision. It's your perception, your decision. And unless it's extremely outrageous, you can find a team of experts that will work with you. So what I am saying is that don't push the limits. Because now I'm so tired right now. And I know I'll pay tomorrow, because I came home, I sit down, I get a little second wind, and I have to do my Facebook Live because I've committed to this 90 days, and this is day 13. Tomorrow is day 14, and it's my son's 22nd birthday. So I'm going to shout out and wish him a happy birthday a little early while he sits on the couch watching the end of the basketball game, and no one's telling me if the score is over yet. Yay! Sorry. Okay, so that was a little burst of energy that won't get me anywhere. So I don't know if there's been any flow to this evening, but I think what I want you to take away from this Facebook Live is that I pushed the limits. I dug and found a topic to talk about, and it relates to having cancer. It relates to when you're cancer free, because when you're cancer free, at least for me, I don't have a problem talking about it. And I'm very open and honest with people. And sometimes it's too much information. Sometimes people tell you things and you relive that experience of that diagnosis, that moment in time, because you see friends that are either going through it or have a close friend or loved one who's going through it, and it's agonizing, and all they need is someone to listen to them. So let them talk, or ask you questions. And I'm just grateful that I'm here 7 years later, and I keep putting one foot in front of the other, and I have a wonderful support system in my family and in my business coach, life coach, who is not only physically beautiful, but she is beautiful inside too, has a huge, huge heart, and just is encouraging and supportive, and believes that everything I do takes me a step further to helping people, taking this Champions Over Cancer, and helping people get over being stuck in the past as a survivor, and addressing any issues that are lingering so that you can move forward with the second chance. At lunch today, which was a long time, almost 12 hours ago, I was reading some articles, and several of the articles were about moving forward in your life after you've gone through acute treatment. And it was interesting because they were along the same lines that I am feeling and that I am talking about. It's, closing the door to that old chapter, moving forward, taking this second chance, this opportunity that you have, and doing anything you want with it. But you have to be brave, just like you were brave through acute, the acute treatment. And you have to step through that door and be willing to open yourself up to possibilities, or open yourself up to dream. I mean, you can do anything. If you've survived acute cancer treatment, you can do anything. Trust me. And sometimes that's the problem, is that you don't trust yourself because you wait to push the limits, or something feels out of bounds and you're afraid to go there. Just take a deep breath, take a step back, think about it, and then do it. Because there is a place and a purpose for every single person. It's just the right fit. Finding what someone's passion is, what they're good at, what they're not good at. I know what I'm not good at, and I will delegate, either ask someone else to do it, or in my family or at work, and I work to my strengths, because I believe that it's easier to get better at what you already are good at, than to try to fix things that you're not good at, because there's so much emotional energy drain, that negativity, that it's easier to to either ask someone else to do it, or if it's not necessary, just not to do it, and work with what you're good at. And everyone's good at something. So, just don't push your limits. I am, and I'm about to wrap it up because before I fall asleep right here on the desk. And don't be afraid of the boundaries, because the boundaries are, aside from the social norms, boundaries are what you determine that they are. And some people will always be out of bounds, and some people are too afraid to get and push the boundaries. But you never know until you try. And so I want to thank everyone who has been following my Facebook Live. Hopefully tomorrow I'll be a little bit more awake and a little bit more organized. But I appreciate, and I'm very grateful for everyone who tunes in, likes it, and shares it, because there's nothing, like, as I said, that we can't do as an individual, and then especially as a group. And changing the culture of being cancer-free is going to take a group, a whole big group, to change this culture of survivorship to becoming a champion. Because you're done with cancer. Now you can take on anything. And what do you want to do? So, with that rambling said, I will say good night, and I hope all are well and safe. And tomorrow is Thursday, so I'll be back at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Thursday, Friday. And I'll wish you all a good night and have a wonderful rest. And I'll talk to you tomorrow.